Is the metaverse alive, or is the metaverse going to survive, or will the metaverse do really well for a long period of time? What's going to happen in the metaverse, and what does it look like in the future? We're going to speak with Lucas today from Affyn, who is striving towards building one of the most different metaverses out there. And let's see where this conversation takes us in terms of finding value of the future of the metaverse, or is it just a fad which is not going to move any further? So welcome to the show, Lucas. So nice to speak with you again. Like, what is the metaverse, and how is it different from an open world game, so to speak?
The metaverse, I believe, have been around for really quite some time already. Since your Second Life days or very early days of your Minecraft, right? It's just that now it's getting the form of hype since last year when Facebook actually renamed themselves to Meta. So personally, I feel that Metaverse is more than just a game. It's a whole immersive experience. It's an immersive experience where the players themselves feel that they are inside that world, rather than from an outside. I'm just looking at the screen, just as if I'm playing a game like that. So this is one of the parameters I feel that is imperative that makes it a metaverse. So I'm inside the world, I'm experiencing it myself over there like that. Yeah.
Right now, Meta, like Facebook, isn't super hot right now. Is that affecting the future of metaverse, because sort of they brought the whole trend to the market, but as of now, like, it's neither trendy nor is it like very exciting, especially in a global sense, in the media sort of sense. Where do you think this is headed?
So personally, I believe that why it's going on a downtrend is because at the very beginning there was so much hype and so much promises of what this thing can entail, and the whole vision of what a metaverse can actually change the lives of many people. It's just that after a while, when it has not been delivered yet, because it has not happened yet, you see. So when it has not happened, people just feel that, oh, this is just a hype, this is just something that's speculative. So people start losing interest eventually. It's just like you look at the internet days, there was so much hype back then during the internet.com boom, right? Everybody was just buying internet stocks, tech company stocks during the whole internet boom. And then after that, it has not really achieve adoption yet back then, and that's why the holdings start declining. So I believe we are in this phase where there was so much hype and speculation behind the metaverse and behind crypto and all these kind of things during the 2021 bull run. It's just that we have not reached to the end consumer yet. It becomes too many buzzwords, too much hype, and there are so many companies just here to cash grab. But personally, I believe that the vision is real. Companies like Meta and there are some other blockchain companies actually working to make it work. I believe in the future that it will change and revolutionize the way we live, the way we behave in the metaverse of the future. So if you look at the internet last time, there was so much hype. There were newspaper and media also saying that the internet is just a fluff. It's not going to happen. Look where we are today. We can't live without the internet. So I believe the metaverse it's going to happen the same way in the future.
Right. The metaverse that Facebook is trying to put across is more like realistic, as well as like it's not as gamified. The one you're kind of putting forward is very gamified. Which one is like the right definition of the metaverse in your opinion? Like, how would you define it?
So as I said, metaverse itself, one of the key parameters is the immersiveness as the user to be as if they're inside the world. So what Meta is trying to replicate, making you feel inside the metaverse as if like you're not sure are you inside the world or not inside the world. That's what they're trying to make it to be super realistic. But at the end of the day, what Meta is trying to do, it's not a game, right? It's to really replicate real life, to have meetings inside the world, to be able to connect with your friends and your family, to go on concerts as if you're over there. So that's what their direction that they are taking forward. Whereas there are gaming companies, okay, like us ourselves, we are trying to create a whole gamified experience where players can have fun. They know it's a game, but we want them to feel as if they're also part of it also as well. So I wouldn't say that which is the right approach. It's just very different nature of business taking. It's just like the internet. Some do this way, some do that way, but they're still part of the internet genre.
Right. So how does your game differ from like regular games though? Like when you call it a metaverse, I want to understand like how is it different from an open world game where people can interact with each other, because that has been existing for a while, right? So how have we changed this, like with crypto and what you're building with Affyn? Like how are things different, and why is it a metaverse and not a game, right? Like I want to understand that.
Yeah. So if we look at Pokemon Go, right, what truly inspired Affyn was from the start of how I saw Pokemon Go really changed the way how I look at games. Because normally I look at games, people just sit behind a desktop, they just connect with friends and play virtually, and that's it, right? In fact, actually, it connects people virtually, but it disconnects people physically. And when I saw Pokemon Go, where people really come together to, parks, going out to play with your friends and talking, let's go to this place and catch Pokemon together. So a game like that actually brings people together physically and connect with people physically in a technological world. So I felt that was extremely inspirational. It's just that Pokemon Go, it's very single player virtually. You only see your avatar inside there. That's number one. Number two, the assets that the players own inside, it's not actually theirs. There's no earning aspect also. So there's a lot of limitation to what Pokemon Go does. And what I envision of Affyn, right, is that players can, when you go into that world, okay, you can actually see other players and interact with other players through an augmented reality lens, right? You can actually make it as if you are over there. The characters are also part of that world. You can see buildings, you can see characters, and it's like taking on this thing, you can actually see a lot of things. Right? So AR is just the very start of what we are trying to build. Eventually, if it's possible, we want to get into experiential reality. And really this depends on how technological advancement proceeds, advance in the future. So, but at the end of the day, what we are trying to build, it's a gamified experience that really brings people together. But at the same time, by using blockchain and NFTs, right, technology, to actually empower our players, to give ownership to them, where they become owners of the asset and they can be able to contribute to the economy. And this gives them incentivized to create and also monetize the whole experience. This makes us so different from all the other Web2 games that are out there.
I think one question again on this particular aspect I want to segue into slightly is like the metaverse is kind of differentiating itself from games in that sense, but games is still getting more traction right now because people aren't searching like which metaverse can I enter. They're still looking for games to play, right? Yep. So like building a metaverse, you've kind of reduced that inflow of users that you would have from a gaming side. So also like from the accessibility perspective, because you're integrating a token and NFTs within your gameplay, sort of support from companies like Steam or Apple Store or Play Store, like App Store and Play Store, would be lesser as well. So kind of like both sides is not really in your favor right now. Do you feel this is the case? And how do you plan to fight any of them?
So what Affyn is building, it's not just a metaverse or a game. Actually, if we look at Affyn as a whole, right, we are actually building an ecosystem of metaverses and games, forming what we call a multiverse. So the underlying technology is NFTs and blockchain that can be interoperable between all the games and metaverses of different genres, different trends, and we're adapting to different things. So in fact, the flagship product, our core metaverse, it's called NEXUS World. So NEXUS World, it's a very complex metaverse that requires quite some time to actually develop. So that's really a few years in our roadmap. But at the same time, we have been working on kind of like a secret project, right, that we intend to launch next year already. And we want to be able to introduce NFTs and to have use case and utility in this project that we are going to launch next year. We want to, because unlike most NFTs, right, where it's mostly used as a speculative tool, or people just buy it, to speculate and just for hype, but there's no use case. We want to be able to take that first mover advantage to actually introduce utility and use case of NFTs for the game that we're going to launch next year. So we want to be that forefront runner as a Web3 company to be able to penetrate into the Web2 space,
Right.
driving Web2 users into our ecosystem. So I wouldn't say that we are just a metaverse or we are just a game. We are actually building a whole plethora of games and metaverses across our ecosystem.
Got it. So you think you found the secret sauce that will make Affyn bigger than Meta? Like, also, like, what will it take for a company to become bigger than Meta itself in the metaverse? Right? Like, of course, they have a lot of users,
Yep.
but you're talking more about an experience and something in terms of like integrating the blockchain side of things as well, which is all interesting ideas for me, but like they're very like, fringe in terms of both technology and people's interest in general right now. So my question is like, how do you beat Meta? Like, how do you become bigger than Meta if you have to? How do you acquire like 1 billion users going further?
So I wouldn't say Meta is our direct competitor because Meta is building a social interactive metaverse that replicates that can help in their real life.
Yeah, I'm not saying it from a use case perspective, but more like the numbers perspective. Like the goal has to be to beat those numbers, right? Regardless of the use case, because it's like the bigger genre is still the metaverse. So yeah, that was more the question.
Okay, so if you look at Meta, right, it's a centralized entity with a lot of resources and a lot of users. Of course, they are way ahead than many of the startups, especially, right? So in a very short term, it's not easy to actually beat them in the very short term, right? But in terms of our strategy of how we're going to drive user acquisition, is to first understand our target audience. So first thing to know is that the gaming industry is thriving like crazy. I mean, people who don't used to play games are now playing games. Female gamers are increasing. Senior citizens are also playing games. Everybody are playing mobile games now. The accessibility of mobile games is crazy. The reason why I believe is we are living in a world where attention span is so short. We are living in a world of boredom, and games are thriving like mad. Right, especially if we move into a downturn economy. Now crypto is in a bear market. When equity, stock market had reached into a financial crisis, right? Even more people will start playing games. Why? Because it acts as a form of escaping of reality. So for us, right, as a Web3 company, our strategy is to market and front face as a Web2 direction. That means we are targeting Web2 users as a free-to-play model to come in to play and really grow that user base. But what we also intend to do is to build a core community of Web3 people. So why? Because no longer we just act as a centralized entity trying to grow our user base, but when you grow a core group of Web3 community, right, when they are owners of the asset, they will also go out there to actually grow that ecosystem together with everybody. So we are growing our Web3 base. Consumer facing, we're actually growing our Web2 user. In the short run, we won't be able to beat Meta, but in the long run, there is this possibility that as we continue growing our genres of games and metaverses, we can really grow a very large user base, not just as one company itself, but with a community of Web3 owners.
Right, fairly interesting. Like, I want to discuss the composability side with you, but before that, I wanna ask you, like, does the current situation, like, I think we'll be in a slightly longer bear market with everything which has happened with FTX and Luna and 3AC and BlockFi and Voyager, Celsius. Does this give you some kind of a relief to build and have a longer time to kind of get your product out there, or it doesn't affect you at all? Like, what are your thoughts on this, and like where does Affyn stand in this particular paradigm?
So actually, things really comes down to I believe everything is about timing. In fact, when Affyn went to run fundraising campaign at that time, right, it wasn't in my timeline to do the fundraising in the end of Q4 of last year. It's really when Meta, Facebook changed their name to Meta, where I pushed the fundraising timeline to make it much earlier to actually catch the timing so that we can achieve that fundraise. And especially this whole year was about development, setting up the team, setting up the infrastructure and everything. But when I saw the whole FTX, 3AC and all the big crash happening, in my mind, I'm already anticipating a very bad market to be coming in the months and maybe even next few years possibility. So that's the reason why we as a company are pivoting, okay, to instead of making the bear market as an excuse, to hold back, to slow down development, we are pivoting to actually push production earlier to next year. So the reason why is because I want to catch on to the timing of a bear market. During a bear market, companies with products and substance will thrive. You see, and when all the noise are out, when we have a product and we can deliver entertainment value and it's free to play, we can be able to absorb the larger user base during a bear market. So to me, the bear market, it's a great opportunity for companies with products and substance to actually push forward further, to double down. Yeah, and that's why we are taking this approach.
Got it. The current set of investors do you have, are they equity investors or token investors?
Token investors.
Right. So how does the token work within the Affyn ecosystem? Does it enhance the user experience, or how does the token work? What's the main use case for it, and how does it make it more exciting for people to want to enter the Affyn ecosystem?
So our Affyn token, it's a utility token where it's meant to be used across the whole entire ecosystem, where you can use it to buy in-app purchase of the items. You can actually convert to your in-game currency. You can actually use it to buy your land NFTs. You can buy your character NFTs. But more importantly, right, what we are trying to achieve is that the Affyn token itself, when you use and in the game, you can actually also earn in the game, right? But most often in that case where games, when they offer this kind of earning aspect, players will naturally just go and cash it out, right? They will just play, earn, cash out, as we saw of Axie Infinity. So when more people are actually cashing out, your token demand is actually weaker than your sell-off, your token price will just keep going down already.
Yeah.
Okay? So
it's obvious, like if you have a linear economy, people will only have one use case, which is to sell.
Correct.
And that doesn't keep it sustainable. We've
Correct,
seen this so many times, like
too many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how is Affyn different now?
Yeah. So I was thinking of how to create sustainability in the economy, right? Is to create higher demand of the token, the use case. So when your use case it's strong, right? People are buying your token to actually use on your product inside the virtual world. So that's one aspect. Now the other problem I was trying to solve is when people take the money, the token, right? When they sell it, then your token will starting to go down, even though there's buying that. So in order to create that higher demand is to integrate real world aspect into it. So take for example, if I earn my token in the game, naturally I want to sell it off so that I can pay rent, I can pay for food, I can pay for real world aspects of it. But if I integrate the real world aspect of it, for example, dining, right? If my token can be used to pay for food at a discounted rate, why would I even now want to cash out, right? If I can pay for air ticket, hotel, and shopping at a better rate than fiat, then I don't need to convert to fiat anymore. I can actually use the token in the real world for it.
But that's still cashing out, right? Like it's still selling your token for something which is not free, right? Like at the end of the day, just as an example, if you're trading that token for an NFT within the game, literally the value stays within the economy and the token gets dispersed and you can either burn it or like add it to a treasury or whatever, which makes sense. But when you buy an airline ticket with it or buy food with it, then it's as good as removing one step, of course, but it's as good as cashing out, right?
Correct. So when people actually buy the token, okay, in order for people to buy, let's give an example. Let's say a plate of chicken rice, okay, costs say $10 in fiat. But if in my token it costs $9, so now a user have to buy the token, all right, in order to actually pay for it. So money actually enters the ecosystem to pay for that $9 chicken rice, right? Now, when we work with a merchant, okay, what the merchant are always looking for is actually traffic. So that's why they're always giving out vouchers and all these kind of things.
Right.
So when we work with them, right, they have to pay a form of marketing fee, let's say 10% or 20% when users actually go there. So when people buy it, actually use it, right? Okay, there's a win-win for everybody. For the consumers.
I have two follow-up questions on this real quick though before we go further. Like, firstly, like when somebody has the tokens with themselves and you're saying they can pay with it, for them, the volatility of it, and of course it's going to be volatile in price. One day, if you want 10,000 tokens in a day, which is worth $10, just as an example, that's what you need to pay. Tomorrow you might have to pay 15, then one day you have to pay like 8,000. But at the end of the day, the person is only earning a fixed amount, right? So it's fun. Like, I think if you can trade it for, food or something once in a while, it's fun, but it's not sustainable, right? Like, nobody wants to use it regularly. And the second question that I have with this is that how will you do tie-ups with merchants at a regional level? Because if the game is global and the dimension of the metaverse is all over the world, then having tie-up with a singular brand in a singular location is not going to kind of cut it, right? So how do you kind of deal with this discrepancy here, at least in the next couple of years? Because let's assume you do one tie-up with one restaurant, but your users may be like miles and, like hundreds of kilometers away from it. For them, it adds no real value, right? So I want to know, like, how sustainable is it? Plus, even from your database, how do you track which user is from which region? Because even if you're going to an advertiser and telling this advertiser that, hey, like we have 50,000 users, but they will ask you like, hey, we're in Singapore, like, do you have 50,000 in Singapore? You will say, no, we have global. Then the marketing agencies of these brands will be like, no, we prefer to work with regional databases and stuff. So yeah, how do you solve these two problems?
These are all very fair questions, and this also puts us in a very strong advantageous stage because this is very, very hard to replicate and very hard to copy. Because I've been doing this for almost 10 years now, integrating a lifestyle aspect, working with merchants and all that kind of steps. So learning from experience, for Affyn, right, we are going to do this into 3 phases. There's 3 phases to get launched. So phase 1, it will be online integration. For example, I work with merchants that have 4,000 over merchants, companies that have 4,000 over merchants behind their scene. So with one company, in my previous company, we integrate with them, and users can gain access to 4,000 of this worldwide online. So when you do an integration like this, right, your user base, regardless of region or whatever country, they can already make purchase online already. Okay, and there's the scale of it is simple, right? You can be from Saudi Arabia, you can buy something online easily just like that. And we have so many merchants, 4,000 are all big brands, all the established brands that you know of. Okay, so phase 1 is the online integration. Phase 2 is curated trips. So curated trips are travel curated trips. So that's where we work with travel agency and event organizations to actually curate holiday trips. And do bulk purchase, say a 5-day 4-night trip, you do a room of say 200 rooms, and then you bulk buy it, and then you integrate into your app. So I've done this for also about 10 years already, to curate trips like that put it into an ecosystem where users can actually buy it. So when you do it this way, right, you are in control of the supply chain, all right, and your user also can actually you can command the price the way you want it, all right. And then third phase is a much later phase where what you are saying is the bigger concern. So which is physical merchant integration. So physical merchant integration is not going to be easy to do because every country have different licensing. For example, Singapore itself, you need a PSA license. Maybe in Philippines it's a different license. So every region is going to be very different and very difficult. But only when we get to a very large scale base, then we will go into that route. Yeah. So to get into that route, right, what we will need to do is to form a community that how to say, they have the system to actually go and bring in merchants. That means relying on community to go out there to bring in merchants. So let's say I bring a merchant, whatever anybody in the user of the ecosystem spend in a merchant, the person who actually bring in the merchant gets a cut of the earnings. So then you rely on the community to go out there in different regions to do it. But you must have a very, very big community in order to make this work. And you must have licensing in order to make this work. So that phase 3 is going to be many years later until we grow big enough. But phase 1 and phase 2 is easy to do. In fact, we are able to do phase 1 and phase 2 next year already.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, fairly interesting. I think that's the right approach, like having that long-term vision and the fight to make sure that, things are happening the right way, because things can go a little crazy, right? Like this space is such that if a little attention is not given to the asset side of things or the product side of things or regulation, compliance, the right messaging, things can go a little crazy. And like a lot of success of the project is based on a lot of these criterias, right? Yeah. So let's talk about the product, like the most exciting part of it, the one that you showed me before, and I was like, this is fantastic. So do you want to kind of like show me what it looks like? If you can share your screen and show me some videos.
Okay. Okay. Maybe I'll share with you a 60-second video to actually showcase that one, right? Okay. Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, the idea is for our users, when they enter into the world, okay, they can see what we call an overworld, right? And when they go in there, they can actually have their own characters, what we call buddies. They can catch them, protect them, train them, and groom them, and then they can go and fight raids, things like that. So for example, this kind of monsters, right? In Nexus World, the whole idea is to get rid of all these threats and these bosses. So when our players actually defeat them, they can actually earn Affyn token, and that's the whole idea. So the Affyn token they actually earn, right? They can actually use it to spend inside the game itself. They can buy land. They can buy flags to actually plant in there and to actually claim their land. Use it across the whole genre of different games. Yeah.
Quite interesting, yeah.
And today, I'm excited to announce Singapore as the first city review where people who have bought flags can claim their land from 17 December at 1200 UTC. Following Singapore, there will be waves of cities that will be launching in 2023.
Quite interesting, yeah. In terms of like the build of it, like what platforms does it work on right now? Like iOS and Android?
Currently, we have not launched it yet, but the intention is to launch it on both iOS and Android. Yeah.
Would you not have problems with the NFT and the token side of things with them?
Correct. So this has been a challenge that we have been trying to resolve for the past 6 months. We have a very experienced product team that's working on it. Right. And the solution is to ensure that the product aspect of it, it's everything Web 2. That means consumer facing. That means they buy in-game currency, they buy this, they buy that. It's all Web 2 facing, so that we do not violate with the policy of Android and iOS, right?
Got it.
Okay, but the back end of it, it's based on Web 3. Yeah.
Quite interesting. And what blockchain are you using for this?
Polygon.
Yeah, but any reason why you chose Polygon and not BNB or Ethereum or Solana or Algorand or Tezos or Cosmos?
Okay, because I've been following Polygon also for quite some time already.
Right.
And Polygon itself meets all our requirement, which is it's fast. It's also the fees are low. And more importantly, because it's a layer 2 of Ethereum, it's interoperable. So and that's most important for me. Yeah, because of course there are other blockchains that are also fast and cheap, but I believe that Ethereum, it needs to be EVM in Ethereum compatible and interoperable. So that's why Polygon, I think, will be the no-brainer for us to use.
Quite cool. In terms of let's talk a bit about speculation and the token side of things, whatever you can tell me. Like why is it an exciting token to buy in your opinion? Like why do you think it will be undervalued? And when you're launching it, what are your launch plans for it?
So if you look at most cryptocurrencies, people just buy it, just for speculative purpose and just to, to speculate, right? I mean, there's no use for it. Nobody actually buy it because they don't use it. If you look at most cryptocurrency.
I want to talk speculation here only because at the end of the day, if one is not a gamer but still wants to invest and find out opportunities, they should know what they're investing in. So that's why my question is more towards, like why would it make for do you think it's a good investment at all, or should one only buy it if they want to play the game?
It's definitely a good investment because if you look at any company, right, is there going to be more investor or going to be more consumers?
Right.
If a successful company have a far weighted consumer, okay, than investors, right? That's how a successful company. If you have more investors than your consumers, then it's not working, obviously.
True,
right?
true.
Right?
You mean if you have more speculators than users?
Now then it's going to be short term. It's going to be declining.
But that is crypto in general, right? Like 99% of the tokens are essentially speculated, and 1% in a very good blockchain or a dApp or app is used, right? Like most of it is speculation and very little used. Like that's the nature of the game, right?
Yeah.
But how can you stop it from happening?
So the way to stop it from happening is to create a great product that people buy and to use. You see, when you buy and use, right, then there's no selling already. If 99% of your company it's consumer based, people buy the token to spend on your NFTs, to spend on your in-game item asset. When they buy to use it, right, then money is coming in and money is not leaving. You see. But if you have mostly speculators, the people who buy are going to sell anyway. You see, so at the end of the day, you end up make money from other speculators. It becomes a Ponzi scheme eventually. So that's why our direction forward is to ensure that we need to be able to penetrate into the mainstream masses, the Web2 users. Then our token will have real demand that really thrive on real value. So why you should buy now is because we have not launched it yet. If we launch it and consumers start coming in, then the people buying the token are actually buying for using it. And that's where you are buying it. The price will get a lot more expensive because at the end of the day, there's a limited supply of 1 billion token only.
So I'm assuming you're launching the game much before you launch any tokens or distribute them or anything, right? Like you'd probably get a user base before the token.
The token is out already. It's tradable on QuickSwap already and Bitmart and BitTrue currently. So the tokens is already out in the market. It's purchasable already. But just that next year we are going to launch our product so that you can already onboard real customers and users to start playing the game. There's an in-game economy.
What should people do in this market right now? Like in your opinion, it'll be like a long trended bear market for at least 1.5 to 2 years, if not more. Like what in your opinion should people be doing right now? Speculating on tokens?
So I started in crypto investing since in 2016. I bought Ethereum back then. I saw the whole big bull run went up to 2017.
For how much? Like $5? $10?
$10. Yeah. So I bought Ethereum. It was $10. And at that point in time, I was like crazy excited. I bought every token on Polygon exchange. Back then, there was this exchange called Polygon. I believe it was about it.
It's still there. Polygon is bought over by Justin Sun, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I've never really followed the news, but I think I heard it. So I bought Dogecoin back then. Every coin, Digibyte, whatever, I just buy it. And during the 2017 token, it just went crazy. So my portfolio was like, wow, was amazing, right? And of course, we went into this bear market, crypto winter after 2018, right?
Yeah.
So, but I must say that the excitement, it was in 2017. But what really added value to me was in 2018, 19, and 22. Yeah, those 3 years. So the reason why was because when everything quietened down, right? Of course, I learned my lesson from what I should have done, could have done, would have done. Hindsight. But those 3 years, when everything quieted down, when my friends were all started to go off the crypto market, I was still in the market. But I wasn't speculating, trying to find which token to buy and everything. I was really more of spending that time educating myself, right? Trying to learn, what are some of the companies who are doing well? What are some of the companies that have that potential? So I would say that during the bear market, the best thing to do is to really prepare yourself and really learn about this whole space, blockchain in general. Why blockchain and NFTs is going to be the future. And when you know these fundamentals, you can find the right project to invest in before the next bull market. So personally, I invested a lot into Matic in the before the big bull run. I was showing off to my friends. So I keep buying Matic, because I know that Matic was going to be huge before they even called themselves Polygon back then.
Yeah.
Right? So it actually paid off because I knew that they were going good. The other one was Chainlink back when it was 30 cents. So education, it's more important, right? Rather than speculation. So when you're educated in the right way, you know what are the proper projects to actually look out for. And that also allowed me to start Affyn with the right mindset and intent. And that's the reason why we actually cash out in earlier of this year. When we raised the funds, we didn't got greedy and take the money and go and invest in DeFi or put it here or put it there or in the exchange. We took out maybe 95% or 98% of everything and converted everything to fiat into our bank account. So we have that proper runway and proper funds to actually execute and really run like a proper company and business. So all this, it's all came from experience and really taking the time to actually learn how actually blockchain and NFTs work. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Thanks, Lucas. That was great. Before we wrap up, like I want to know, like, is there a future for GameFi? Is there a future for play to earn? What are the challenges with GameFi right now? How long do you think it will take for it to get mass adoption? Like, how long will it take for us to get like 100 million users, in your opinion? So, yeah, tell me everything on that. What do you think?
Yeah. So the first thing to note is that blockchain companies, right, shouldn't be thinking Web3 first or money first, right? And as we have seen from like Axie Infinity and everything, and a lot of companies started replicating.
Hold on, you've released a token and fundraised using a token yourself. How do you think that's different than what you're saying?
But in terms of product development. So what I'm trying to say is that when you create a product, right, don't start with the mind of how can I make money. So because the key priority should be about how can I make the game fun and sticky and players to play. That should be the core priority. Don't think Web3. You see, when you have a product that delivers, right? Okay, and then you think of how blockchain and NFT can help empower that product. Not the other way around. Not like, okay, let me think of NFT first, crypto, Web3, how can I make money? Okay, then I think of a product. It should not be this way. It should be how do you add value to your end consumers first, and how can Web3 empower it? So that is the biggest challenge right now in GameFi, where many companies, they overcomplicate the whole process. Wow, you start the game, you must buy crypto, set up MetaMask, send your crypto in, buy an NFT. It's so complicated that only crypto-savvy investors understand it. Right? Too complicated already. Second, they come in, it's not fun. So people no longer play the game because of the game. They play it because to make money. Once the money is gone, they just leave the game. Even if it's fun, once money declines, they leave already. So it should not be that way. It should be the game first, people play, and the earnings is the by the way thing. Yeah. So how Web3 and GameFi can actually change all of this as compared to Web2, right, is that it no longer becomes a centralized company deciding all the content, but Web3 owners, right, they have the say and the incentive to actually contribute to the content and the economy already. So this itself is very powerful. It's like YouTube, all right, where creators start to create even more content because they have incentive, but they only take a cut. But with Web3, it changes everything because they have full ownership of it.
Yeah, that was awesome. I think that is definitely interesting for people to keep in mind. And also, like, I don't think it's a bad thing, like having that barrier to entry with MetaMask being as complicated as it is. Like, I don't think many people know how to manage finances, frankly. So the fact that, there is slower adoption, in my opinion, I think is okay because like very fast adoption of something which is not ready for mass adoption is also a problem, right? Like that's why we keep going like forward and way backwards. Like, had people not been greedy or have understood like how centralized exchanges can screw them up, and how a company that claims to have hundreds and thousands of Bitcoin doesn't have any in their accounts, and what people have been trading there is like just air, right? Like literally anybody trading Bitcoin on FTX is literally not trading Bitcoin at all because they have zero Bitcoin in their books, right? So I think people aren't ready and not really aware of how to deal with personal finance or even crypto finance in general. So it's fine, but true. Like, I mean, it's a battle between us trying to get adoption and kind of reaching a much better place so that the experience increases and more people can come in, while at the same time, because these are still financial tools at the end of the day, right? Like, I think what you rightly said is like differentiating users from speculators, and not every user should try to become a speculator. Like, just understand being part of a microeconomy like you're creating with Affyn is actually is like a good thing. The problem comes when the speculators think that they're users and they try to, trade it and do silly things and lose money in it. I think blowing tokens into a massive valuation which doesn't make any sense, and then going down because people realize that, hey, like, this is crazy. Yeah, so that's like my concluding thoughts, but it was so nice speaking with you. I think we had a great conversation. I think the game is super interesting. I'd like to play it. I think it's going to be fun to see how it moves, and it'll be great to see good products and projects and metaverses coming from the crypto side of things, and us getting more and more intelligent users in the space as well.
All right. Thank you so much for this chat also as well. We are pretty excited about next year also because the project that we are going to launch is going to be multiplayer, where players can actually play and have fun together, connect their friends, and there's a lot of depth to the whole project, the game that we're going to launch next year. So looking forward to actually have you to play the game also as well and to feature it. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think we've launched Fungible Games as a platform only to feature games and make it easy for people to find amazing games rather than finding speculation opportunities. Like, one of the big problems that I felt we have with Altcoin Buzz is that we're so focused on investing side that that we never end up focusing on the use case side of things, and that's why we're launching Fungible.games, which is now in soft beta. I think you've checked it out before.
Yep. Yes.
So, like, for people to find good action games, adventure games, metaverse games, idle games, etc. Every other platform is saying how much you can earn in one, but nobody is talking about the experiential side.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to build from our end as well. Like, we identified that as a problem at our end, and I think it'll be super interesting. We're still very bullish on gaming and GameFi, not so much with the play to earn model. I think these economies can be more interesting than play to earn, but let's see where it goes. But thank you for your time, Lucas, and
Thank you for having me too.
awesome.